in as they're discussing this, and ultimately at the end the judge is going to decide whether or not this can be used in the state case, and then in January 9th we're going to have to do it all over again when a federal judge hears the same arguments and then makes that determination as well.
All right, Haley, I know you spoke a little earlier. We've got two interviews that we wanted to play. The first one is with Arthur Aidala, and Arthur is talking about here about what happens even if some of the significant pieces of evidence are suppressed, which seems like it could happen, but maybe a long shot. He talks a little bit here about what still are some of the more important and key pieces that could be included. Let's take a listen.
I think the most important piece of evidence, even more than the gun, although the gun is pretty significant, is his diary. Because the manifesto, and this now list of things to do. I mean, and the fact that he's got two separate fake IDs. This was not what we would call like an extreme emotional disturbance killing, where he walked in and this guy was fooling around with his girlfriend and he snapped out and he killed him. This was clearly planned out, and that means a lot, not only to a jury verdict, but then what a judge would sentence someone who gets convicted under those circumstances.
All right, so you hear him there just sort of talking about what could still be included, which is the manifesto, so to speak. I mean, when you heard that, Haley, I know you've been covering this over the last couple of days, but what were your thoughts on that? Why did you key in on that as kind of an important piece there?
Well, the manifesto, the notebook that was found in the backpack, that is actually one of the pieces of evidence that's currently getting contested by prosecutors, because that was in the backpack that by the defense that says that they didn't have a warrant to search the backpack, and that notebook was found inside. So I think that was interesting that may or may not be included. But again, that list, that to-do list that Arthur just mentioned, that was actually, we got a photo of it over the weekend, that the courts had just released these photos of pieces of evidence that we hadn't seen before. And that to-do list, it actually said survival kit on the bottom corner, and then it included things like Best Buy, USB, digital cam. So we don't know exactly the relevance to this, but it is interesting that that could be a key piece of evidence that is being used in this trial when it does go to trial.
Yeah, we're taking a look there at what you were talking about, that note that potentially could be included. I thought it was also interesting, and I know that you talked about this earlier on Good Day New York, that this is not the trial. This is like a hearing that's supposed to be relatively procedural, but I mean, this is now going into the second week of this. Which is different because they're calling witnesses. I mean, that's different than what maybe would happen if this wasn't such a high-profile case.
Absolutely, and that's something that Arthur talked about, and obviously he has more experience than I do, but he was talking about that this is unprecedented. 27 witnesses, there's cross-examinations going on, and apparently last week the judge, he said, hey guys, you need to wrap this up. This isn't the trial yet, and you guys are acting like this is a trial. So this is very intense, but again, a lot is at play here because the defense, again, wants that backpack and everything found inside to not be included in the trial. They also want anything that Mangione said before he was read his Miranda rights, and that was about 20 minutes after police first encountered him. They want all of that thrown out. So that's a lot there. But we have talked to legal experts over the last couple of weeks, and they say, you know, even if it is thrown out, this is all caught on camera. There were cameras everywhere. So it's still hotly contested, and there's a lot of information here, but it'll be interesting to see what the judge decides. And then, like I mentioned, we are going through this again starting January 9th for the federal case. So it might be the same, it might be different. We just don't know.
Hey, and Haley, I want to talk to you just a bit about kind of what you're seeing down there, because obviously when we talk about Mangione, there's also this element of his supporters and people who do come to see him. But first, I just wanted to play a little bit of an interview with a defense attorney, or an attorney not affiliated with the case, but a law expert that's following things closely. Vino Varghese, I think is his name. If I mispronounced it, apologies. But let's take a listen to that.
Does this mean that this was his equipment used to make a killing? It doesn't seem like it, but perhaps there's a theory that the prosecution isn't sharing yet, which is likely, of why it's important. He was masked, and he disappeared. It took a few days to find him. If there is evidence, forensic evidence, that matches up to his DNA on these clothes, and again, if there's residue on the clothing, which matches the type of firearm used to kill the United Healthcare executive, then yeah, it could be very important evidence.
All right. Yeah, so he's talking about some of that circumstantial evidence that theoretically could be included, even if some of this stuff is thrown out, which, you know, depending on who you talk to, it seems like it's a long shot. A lot of times in these cases, the judges don't want to throw out what could be consequential evidence later on. I'm just sort of wrapping up, Haley. I know, you know, last week you'd seen tons of supporters out there for Mangione. It kind of tapered off because they didn't walk him down the hallway where everyone could see him. Instead, they were bringing him in that back door, which sort of tempered the excitement around that for a lot of people. But what are you seeing out there this morning?
Definitely not what we were seeing this time last week when it was the first day of the trial. We have not seen the amount of supporters and people dressed up in costumes and holding signs. It's definitely a lot quieter. There was, of course, a line to get into court today, but that's kind of standard as the court opens up, but not the kind of support that we've been seeing. Part of that, again, is that he's not being paraded through the hallway. Another part is probably that it's very cold, but it's also day 4 of this hearing. So as it continues, I think we'll see possibly less and less outward support here at the courthouse.
All right, Haley, thank you very much. I know you've been out there all morning. I know it's 30 degrees, so we appreciate you. I know you might be out there a couple other days this week as we move things forward. Haley, great job as always. Thank you. 10:11, we'll take a look again at our big board behind us. You can sort of see everything that we have happening. There you go. Haley just walked out. It is Monday morning. Looks like the stock market's down a little bit. Not too bad. Anyway, when we come back, we're going to talk about something that a lot of people were interested in last week. Where is the mayor-elect going to live? Is he going to stay out in his rent-stabilized apartment in Queens, or is he going to be moving in to the more stately Gracie Mansion? Well, we finally got an answer. If you're interested in that, stick around. We'll be right back. All right, it is Monday morning. We appreciate you joining us. Looking at our video board, you can see we got a lot of stuff going on all throughout New York City, down in D.C. Our man Robert Moses, he's right there. Robert's got his notes. He's ready to go. Yeah, he's going to slide on over into the shot. Robert, let's just get right to it. We were talking, we were initially going to talk about the mayor-elect's new video that he put out, sort of encouraging immigrants in New York to know their rights when it comes to ICE. And you said, well, what about Gracie? And I said, I don't know what you're talking about, Gracie. What's going on with Gracie Mansion and the mayor-elect?
Well, in the 8 o'clock hour this morning, the mayor-elect's press team put out a statement saying that he had decided to move into Gracie Mansion.
Okay.
The subject of intense speculation. Gracie, just for a little bit of a backgrounder, Beautiful mansion on the Upper East Side, right on the East River. Became the official residence of the New York City mayor back in 1942.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
LaGuardia was the first mayor to live there. Mayors after him have lived there. A couple didn't, namely Mike Bloomberg
didn't
lived in his.
De Blasio did. Eric Adams has. Right?
Yes. So, but I think the reason why there was such speculation around Zoran Mamdani is because his $2,300 one-bedroom rent-stabilized apartment in Astoria became kind of a part of his campaign,
right?
And also the optics of it. Think of it. A candidate who campaigned on making New York City affordability for everyone. There would have been something powerful about staying in a one-bedroom, rent-stabilized apartment in Astoria.
Is it a walk-up? We don't know if it's a walk-up.
No, it's an elevator.
It's an
elevator building because in the statement he talks about how he's going to miss sharing elevator rides with his neighbors.
And it's interesting because he obviously is the mayor of New York City. There's a level of security that comes with that, but he's kind of taken on a little bit of, because of who he is and the attention that he's got a little bit of, I'm hesitant to use the word celebrity, but there is a sort of a point that comes with it where people are always wanting to take selfies with him and things along those lines. I mean, but practically the mayor of New York City, for the most part, it's very difficult unless you have a security team with you at all times, and some of that maybe like Bloomberg is a private security. It's just impossible to kind of live in a situation like that.
I just want to read you one line from this, kind of his rationale of moving into Gracie Mansion. He says, "This decision came down to our family's safety and the importance of dedicating all of my focus on enacting the affordability agenda New Yorkers voted for." So it's kind of hard to argue with safety,
right?
And I'm sure that's a real concern. And yes, you're right. He is a social media celebrity in a lot of ways.
And I know it's been something that they've talked about for the last couple of weeks. And he was actually asked about this. I don't know if this was last week or the week before.
Last week, right after he met with Mayor Eric Adams in Gracie Mansion, he was asked on New York One. Hey, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Errol Lewis asked him, where are you going to live?
All right, let's take a listen to that.
You sound like my landlord. No, not yet at a decision point, but I did appreciate having it at Gracie, and I've been there a few times visiting both Mayor Adams, but also Mayor de Blasio.
All right, so he's essentially saying, I've been there a couple times to visit de Blasio, to visit Mayor Eric Adams, and now it looks like he's going to be living there. Anything else you think we should know about that one?
No, not entirely a surprise, but it's just, again, it's the optics of it, having a guy who campaigned on affordability now living in a mansion.
In a mansion, you're right.
Is there something kind of, and I think we're going to see this tension constantly during his time in office.
Yeah. Who you portrayed yourself as, the everyday person who's sort of been able to say the right things, and now you have to deliver on those promises. Can you deliver from the mansion as opposed to from your rent stabilized?
And also remember, when he was in the Oval Office with President Trump, a reporter asked him, "Hey, why didn't you take the train down? Why did you fly down?"
Oh yeah.
So there's going to be all this, why don't you put your money where your mouth is kind of thing during his term.
Well, one of the things, obviously, he's also talked a lot about pushing back on the Trump administration, even though there was that very cordial meeting, to put it lightly, in the White House. And over the weekend, the mayor-elect put out a series of videos that had to do with immigrants in the city knowing their rights when it comes to ICE and immigration enforcement. I just want to play a little bit of that video. I don't think it matters which one we played, but maybe the longer one. Mike, let's go ahead and listen.
Sometimes ICE will show you paperwork that looks like this and tell you that they have the right to arrest you. That is false. ICE is legally allowed to lie to you, but you have the right to remain silent. If you're being detained, you may always ask, "Am I free to go?" repeatedly until they answer you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Essentially, he's saying there that ICE agents may present documents that look official but do not necessarily require compliance.
Again, let's just step back for a second. How slickly produced
nice.
that video is. It shows you exactly what the documentation could look like. What do you do in this case? What do you do in this case? And the part we didn't play is that he does urge immigrants, whoever comes in contact with ICE, to don't obstruct any investigation. Be sure to cooperate. He's not advising people to break the law, but he is advising people to know their rights, kind of empower them to know when to say no. I don't have to let you in.
So we know he had this pretty good meeting with President Trump the other day, and we haven't heard anything from the White House yet on this because this came out yesterday. But you imagine this is the type of thing that Tom Homan, I don't know what his exact title, but one of the top enforcers of these immigration policies,
borders are,
yeah, exactly, in the U.S. This is almost like fodder for them to respond to something like this and say, "Hey, you're encouraging people not to follow the law."
We call this red meat. It's pretty. It seems like a hanging curve that the administration might hit out of the park. Can we also talk maybe about the homeless, the encampment sweeps?
Okay. I don't know if we have that particular interview, but I know you had pointed out that Mamdani wants to take his foot off the gas when it comes to some of those sweeps, which have been a priority of the Adams administration. I can't remember the number, but it's a lot of sweeps that they've carried out. But I think in your reporting you found that the results haven't necessarily been to find housing.
There was a staggering report done back in 2023 by Brad Lander, the city comptroller, and what he found was that in more than 2,300 sweeps, out of more than 2,300 people who were taken off the streets, only three total landed in permanent housing.
That's not a good stat.
Which Mamdani has pointed to, and he said, look, you can't call something a success if we're just taking people off the streets and not giving them a permanent solution. And over the weekend, both the mayor and the governor, in so many words, said they don't agree with Mamdani promising to end these sweeps.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if the governor had responded, and she's basically saying, do you have a statement from her?
She said the governor does not believe that allowing New Yorkers to sleep on sidewalks or under bridges is a humane solution to homelessness.
And sort of that's, especially this time of year, it's a complicated issue of whether you want the people out there. The blue laws sort of come into effect. All right, Robert, we hit on a bunch of things. At least we know where we can send our mail to
exactly
the mayor-elect.
Mamdani has no, at least at last check, he has no public schedule for today. He's in the city, but he's not answering questions from reporters, at least at this hour. So we don't expect to hear more from him on the rationale of living in Gracie. But I think the statement kind of elucidates it.
All right, 10:22. It is Monday morning. You know what else came out today? The Golden Globe nominations.
Oh, I heard.
You see any of those movies? See that new Leo DiCaprio movie?
I have not, but I know the man who's gonna.
Ryan Christopher. If we got it, can we do our wider shot, Mike? Let's take a look. Ryan, you could step right in. There he is. Look at this. Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't come into the camera view.
Let me just take care of this.
Oh, there we go. All right.
There you go.
Now we're good. Okay, now we're good. Do I need a mic?
Let me hand this to the professional.
Okay, yeah,
All right,
thanks,
so let's
Robert.
take a quick break, and then Ryan Christopher has commandeered the microphone. All right, it's 10:25 here on a Monday morning. It is a busy day. You can see on our video monitors here, we're tracking a lot of stuff that's happening throughout the tri-state area. Our guy Ryan Christopher, raise your hand if you're Ryan Christopher. There you go. Ryan Christopher is here. He's watching what's going on with the Golden Globes. We're going to talk to Ryan in just a second. Let's take a deep breath, though, for a second and step outside if we can, Mike. There we go. I think, look at that. That is... We're saying that's New York. I feel like it's Lower Manhattan, and then we've taken a live look down there at our great city. And if you haven't walked outside today, it is cold out there. I think this morning when I came in, it was 31 degrees. 31 degrees, and now it is like 27 or 28, which is what Mike Woods told us was going to happen, that the temperature is going to be dropping throughout the course of the day. So that's not necessarily what we like there, but we'll deal with it. Oh, there's the Edge. Ryan, have you been to the Edge yet?
Too many times.
Have you been to the Edge? Not the Edge of life, but the Edge of...
Well, both, yes. Yes to both.
I love it.
But yeah,
I love that place.
This is like the go-to spot anytime we have family in town or visitors. That's like, because you get such a beautiful panoramic view of the city. So
it's beautiful.
It's a great experience.
Ryan, I know, I don't know how many times you've been with us here at the 10 a.m. Newsroom Live.
Let's do it.
But usually you're outside. Today you're inside.
We're inside. It's a little bit warmer in here.
How tall are you? You're a big fella.
I'm not tall enough, I guess.
Like
I don't know.
6'2".
It's something like that.
6'2",
but it's all
6'3".
good.
And today, but today it's all about those Golden Globes.
Yeah.
You are keeping track. How many of these movies that we're about to talk about here, have you seen? Because I'm looking at the list. We got the Golden Globes came out, and we got a list of all kinds of stuff. But what's at the top of your list?
So I've seen probably, I would say, 60 to 70% of these. Frankenstein was one of the most recent ones I saw.
I love that movie.
Frankenstein. This is directed by Benicio del Toro. Much of the film, there's very little CGI.
Not Benicio del Toro.
No.
Benicio del Toro is the actor.
The actor.
Yeah.
The other del Toro.
Yeah. Guillermo
del Toro, right. It's Monday. See, this is why Dan is here to correct me.
But he is in one of those movies, right?
He's in One Battle After Another. So Frankenstein, it was an instant classic starring Jacob Elordi. You have Hamnet, which is actually based on Shakespeare's son, who actually died, and that's kind of what this.
I don't know that. I thought that was like a typo at first, and it said Hamlet. Okay.
Hamnet.
Okay.
All right, so that's a really interesting one. It was just an accident. This is a new one. This one I haven't seen as of yet, and this is the thing, when some of these films come out, it's like you better hurry up and get with the program here. So that's one film that we're looking forward to seeing. That one is actually about a gentleman in Iran who comes across somebody who he realizes was the guy that used to torture him back in the day.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah,
yes.
So it's kind of a unique story. The Secret Agent is set in Brazil in the 70s about a guy who was a former secret agent, and he tries to find refuge in Brazil. Sentimental Value stars Stellan Skarsgård from the Skarsgård family. There's like 8 of them.
Is he the older brother?
He's
the father?
I believe he's the father.
He's the dad.
And so in this movie, he plays a director, and he kind of reconnects with his daughter, whose mother had passed away. He tries to basically cast her in his upcoming movie. So that's Sentimental Value. And then we have Sinners, of course, which was wildly popular.
Yes.
Michael B. Jordan, Ryan Coogler, the director.
I think we have that. We have
a little video of Sinners.
Yeah, we do.
So this is really a standout movie of the year for its music, for some of the...
But what about this one? Was this not on the list? One Battle After Another?
One Battle After Another is actually in the comedy or musical category here, which we'll go to here momentarily. Yeah, I mean, there were funny moments. Sean Penn was incredible in this film. He was nominated for a Golden Globe.
Did you think it was going to be in there as a comedy?
See, that's the thing. There are funny moments, and it's one of those things where this is the film that's sort of sweeping. It won the Gotham Award right here in New York City last week. So this film is really an Oscar favorite already, getting that Golden Globe nomination. This movie actually has the most Golden Globe nods this year. So now let's go to our next list, shall we?
This is the whole list. Sorry.
The musical or comedy here next.
Got it.
So here it is. So Blue Moon, that one features Ethan Hawke. It all takes place in Sardis right here in New York City.
You interviewed them.
Yeah. So it's a Broadway story.
Right.
So that was a really unique movie in that it kind of takes place all in one room in Sardis for like the whole movie. Begonia, this one stars Emma Stone. She gets kidnapped by 2 guys that are sort of into conspiracy theories. They think she's an alien, so they abduct her. She's like a CEO of a pharmaceutical company.
So many of those movies are the ones that I've heard of them, and like they didn't get a gigantic theatrical release.
Right.
I mean, they were in there maybe for a little while.
Yeah.
But these are like the smart movies, huh?
Yeah.
These are like the ones a lot of people.
All the critics are into. Maybe not the blockbusters, but that's interesting enough. Is that now they have a category for the Golden Globes, which measures box office success. So
Blockbuster
it's
Awards?
not all
Okay,
about how
got it.
artsy it is. If you have a big movie, you can win big too. Marty Supreme, that one's starring Timothy Chalamet. He plays a ping pong master, and it's loosely based on a true story.
That's another one I heard about. I didn't even know it came out. I remember there's a lot of photos and stuff, and you figure by now it has come out. So then we got two others. No Other Choice and Nouvelle Vague.
Yes.
Nouvelle?
So No Other Choice is one of those films that I still have to catch up on. This is about a guy. This is a South Korean film, which we've seen a lot in the past. Where now there's a lot of South Korean films that are winning Best Picture, but this one is actually about a guy who's been at the same company for 25 years. He gets laid off. He's a little disgruntled, but now to get the new gig, he figures he has to take out the competition.
Terrible
in
idea.
in a very dark way. Okay. Nouvelle Vague. If you translate that in French, it actually means the new wave. There you go. So that's my French. I'm still working on it, but this is all shot in black and white, and it's essentially about making a movie back in 1959. And then, as we mentioned, one battle after another. That one.
That's the sort of the marquee, the premiere film that's out there this year.
And that does have Benicio del Toro.
It does. He isn't. Yeah, there you go.
Just to clarify, and Leonardo DiCaprio.
And I know we got some TV shows as well. White Lotus was on the list, I think, right?
White Lotus season 3 is on the list. We'll just do a quick run through here of some of those top shows here. So for the best TV series for drama, you have The Diplomat, The Pit, starring Noah Wyle.
The Pit's probably going to win.
He won big at the Emmys.
Yeah, he won the Emmys.
And he won an Emmy back when he was in ER back in the 90s as well. Pluribus, Severance is a fan favorite that basically sweep the Emmys as well. Slow Horses, and then White Lotus season 3, which is wildly popular.
It's popular. I didn't know if that's the best White Lotus series. I feel like it's going to be there, but The Pit kind of already won big, so we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. And then there's the comedy series. You have Abbott Elementary, which is a perennial favorite. You have The Bear, Hacks, Gene Smart wins big. It seems like every Emmys for that. And that's what it seems to be now. We're on seasons 3, 4, or 5 of these shows that keep winning. Nobody Wants This, that stars Adam Brody and Kristen Bell. And Only Murders in the Building, that's a hilarious
Classic.
one. And it's set right here in New York City. And then The Studio, which is my personal favorite. Seth Rogen.
That's a good one.
He shoots, writes, edits, directs. He does it all, and a lot of the series is like a one take.
Where the woman accidentally ingests like a couple magic mushrooms when she's not supposed to. That's a pretty funny episode.
Yeah.
Forget what it is. Anyway, all right. I'm glad we talked about that. Ryan, do you have, and you also obviously host Good Night New York. Who's on the show tonight? Do you know?
That's a good question. Our producer's right back there, Moses. Maybe he could fill us in. I don't know, but by 11 o'clock tonight, we're going to have it all figured out, so don't you worry.
Moses!
It's only 10:30.
Who's on Good Night New York tonight?
See, he don't know. Nobody knows. A Soulful
Christmas. All right. So.
Yes. Right? Anybody else? Okay. Well,
a Soulful Christmas.
A Soulful Christmas.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't call it.
No, it's good. It's good. It sort of primes the pump for later.
Good. I hope that's enjoyable. All right. So, you want to take a look outside? Did you bring your coat today or your jacket? You got your coat out there today, huh? It's cold outside.
You might need two jackets. It was freezing. I just got a coffee out there. It's like one of those days where your eyes just start watering.
Okay. It's a New York City gem. All right. Well, we're taking a live look at our great city. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. Talking about the weather, Mike Woods is down here. We'll take a closer look at that. Ryan, awesome. Thank you so much.
Right. That was a lot of fun. Let's do it again.
Yeah. All right, 10:35, and hopefully everyone's Monday is getting off to a nice start. How's your Monday going, Mike Woods?
Well, it's actually, I'm a little sleep deprived here. I'm not going to lie to you, Dan. I did actually work last night's shows. But did a little emergency coverage, but I made it through. I'm doing okay. I'm doing better than I thought I would be.
It's cold out there. We're looking all over our city this morning. So let's see, where are we going to go? The GWB, Fort Lee and Statue of Liberty. So this particular camera that we take, it kind of ciphers through and shifts through all the different kind of weather shots that we have. So, but no matter where we're looking, no matter what we're doing, Christmas season, Statue of Liberty, the temperature is, when I came in this morning, it was 32, 31.
Yeah.
And when I checked just now, it's like 27, 28.
Yeah, we're dropping
We're heading
still.
in the wrong direction. I thought the sun was supposed to warm us up a little bit.
Exactly.
No?
See how this is why the weather folks want you to pay attention to us and kind of hopefully grab your attention, especially on a day like today, because it's that Arctic blast. We've been talking about it coming through, and it's absolutely happening. Look at the temperature differences that we have. And this is just from 24 hours ago. It was cold enough over the weekend, but now we're running about 15 to 20 degrees colder. Plus, we have that north wind coming by at around 10 to 20 miles per hour. Gusts are up to around 30 miles per hour as well. And that makes a big difference out there, Dan, as far as what it feels like outside, even though, we do have the sun up, so to speak, because we do have a lot of clouds out there. The sun's not going to help today. We got that cold air coming through.
I remember a couple weeks ago, Audrey was very excited because there was weather that was literally coming from the North Pole. It was like forced or whatever down here.
It was the polar vortex.
Polar vortex. Is that this? Are we vortexed, or is this a little cold weather?
It's just, the polar vortex is the cold weather. You get basically a little lobe of that cold Arctic air that comes down across Canada and comes over us here in the tri-state. It happens on a pretty regular basis, but sometimes it stays for an extended period of time. So yes, this is a similar situation, and our temperatures are well below. I know, look at that.
2 to 4, 2 in the suburbs.
2 to 14. Aren't you in the suburbs?
I'm north and west, though, sometimes.
So I don't think it'll be quite 2 there.
Is that
14? Yeah.
That's
the low tonight.
Approaching record cold?
Actually,
close to it?
Believe it or not, we're approaching it. The record lows for the city right around 10 degrees, and it looks like it's going to be closer to 20, so we're not quite there. But sometimes when that happens, the other airports, you might find some individual airports that do hit or tie the record low temperatures.
How long is this sticking around? Is this like
this is just about a 24-hour thing. Okay. So by tomorrow we're already coming out of it. But by coming out of it, I mean our high temps tomorrow only in the mid-30s. So it's better, and we're not in the deep freeze technically, but for now we are in it. And our high temp for the day, guess what time?
High temperature for the day. You've said this at least 5 times this morning, and
there we go. If you don't get this, we're in a fight. The
high temperature, obviously, is at 6:02 p.m.
Oh my gosh! Wow, you went so far the wrong direction.
3:37 p.m.
It's at midnight.
Midnight.
It was midnight tonight as we rolled into the day.
It already happened.
It already happened.
The high temperature was overnight leading into this morning.
Exactly, because we were at 39 degrees at that time. So now that cold Arctic air is taking over. See that northwest wind, 15, 25 miles per hour? That's pulling down that cold piece of the polar vortex. See, we're now in the review stage here.
All right, at least we got a little piece. I saw in the map there the 5-day. 7-day.
Yeah.
It's going to be raining on Wednesday and Friday. Is that like a snowy situation?
It just passed by there on the Futurecast. It's a rain snow event that's coming through for Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. So when we come in on Wednesday morning, it's a little rain snow mix coming through. I think that this whole thing, because it's like a weather review for you, it's going to help you out when you come to work on Wednesday morning.
All of our streamers out there today. All right, so Wednesday and Friday we got to watch out. The rest of the week,
wintry mixes.
We're just trying to stay warm.
You stay warm, and next weekend, unfortunately, you'll see it in the 7-day forecast coming up. This coming weekend, looks like we might be almost in a deep freeze where your high temps are. Oh, there it is, right around 32, 33. That's rough. We're in a deep freeze for the weekend, and it goes into next week too. So
we're in it.
It's for next weekend, exactly. And it's not even winter yet. No. Winter? Is it time for another pop quiz? When's winter?
21st.
You got it. Actually, you're the one who taught me that one.
I got that one.
Because you got nerdy and you pulled that one out of your hat.
I had to Google it. All right, it is 10:40. Mike.
Are you done with me?
Yeah. What else you got? What do you want to do?
Nothing. I'm going to do that FM trade right home right now.
That's right. We're going to ask you about that. So there's a big thing in the city right now.
Yep.
We could probably look outside again, Mike, just so we could just take a look. But anyway,
Okay.
the F and the M. I think that the F train used to stop right around here. This is 6th Avenue, right near 30 Rock. But they're switching lines, the F and the M. So if you're in the city, what should we know about what's happening? How was it for you?
No, I'm doing it right now.
Oh, you don't know.
So I haven't done it yet. So I'm about to. I'll report to you tomorrow, and this is my first time on it. But it sounds like it's supposed to move faster, at this point forward. So hopefully that helps me out.
I will try to explain it because I've heard it a couple times.
Difficult.
But it's like one of those things where I feel like so many times, sometimes in New York, it's just like you got to go in the subway
and just wait.
Uptown is uptown, downtown is downtown.
That's it.
And figure out.
And just
the
let it
rest
wait
you
till
just
it
gotta
happens.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Right,
So
cool.
I'll give you a report back tomorrow on what my situation is.
Take some video. Actually, don't take any video down there. People might still look at you funny.
Yeah. It's nothing to see really.
All right, 10:41, Mike. Thank you so much. There we go, Times Square. It's cold no matter where you are. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Mangione case, which, of course, is happening down in Lower Manhattan. We'll be right back.
Morning, Luigi Mangione back
In today's hearing, Arthur, good morning to you. All right, we're counting down here, 10:43. Look at that, the stock market. It's a Monday morning. We're all right. I mean, 145, sort of a little bit below where we'd like to be, but hopefully we get back in the green at some point today, so we'll watch that. If it drops any lower, maybe we'll have to pay a little bit of closer attention to that. Taking a look outside here this morning. Woo, it is cold outside. Mike Woods was telling us it is cold, and it's going to get a little bit colder because the high for the day actually already happened. The high for today was at midnight. So pretty much since midnight, we've been going in the wrong direction. Looks like it's going to be like this for at least 24 hours. Maybe on Wednesday of this week, we're going to get a little bit of a wintry mix, which means could be some snow. It's been so cold. We might get some significant snowfall here, but depends on what you think is good or bad about that. Maybe you want to see some snowflakes these days. Taking a live look in Lower Manhattan, I think we do have this shot, Mike. It is input 1. Yeah, there we go. Input 1 is outside court in Lower Manhattan, and inside, I think it's probably already started here, or at least will get underway soon, is the Luigi Mangione hearing, and it feels more like a trial because they've been calling witnesses, they have been reviewing some of the evidence, but to this point, they are still going over things, and they have not technically made any decisions. So what are they deciding? We spoke with famed defense attorney, Arthur Aidala. He was on Good Day New York a little earlier. Such great perspective, usually from Arthur. So let's just take a listen to that interview, and hopefully you can get something out of it. Let's take a listen.
Good morning. Let's just start off with, he was sick. Like, we're sick, and you go, either someone in your family or someone goes get you thorough flu or something like that. Like, when you're sick in the MDC, maybe they'll give you a glass of orange juice, which you normally don't get.
What
you just gotta like,
do you know? Was he like the flu, or?
My understanding was it was like cold-like symptoms, to the point where like he's got a right to actively participate in his defense. Yeah. So if he's so out of it, now there are some judges who really will put pressure on him. Judge Caro didn't, but the Judge Caro did put pressure on both sides on Thursday, saying, "Hey guys, this is not the trial.
Right.
Let's move things along. Like, this is really taking some time." Now, I know the prosecutor since 1990 when I interned in his office, Joel Seidman. He's been there for 30 years. He is very thorough. I mean, I have never heard of a hearing regarding Luigi's statements and what was recovered from him, calling 27 witnesses.
That's what I was going to say.
Guys, it's usually like 3 witnesses. Maybe 4. Like, 4 is a lot. 20, but that's what Joel Seidman does. He calls everyone. And then the defense attorneys, apparently, led by Mark and Karen Ignifilo, are like cross-examining. And the judge on Thursday is like, guys.
It's a pre-trial hearing, right?
Let's move things along. And also, Rosanna, this is not the kind of hearing where if the defense wins, the case gets thrown out. Like, hypothetically, if he was only charged with the gun, and the judge suppresses the gun, the case is over.
In this case, it's the pre-trial hearing. So this is about the evidence. This is about the potential statements that were made. This is about the possible 3D printed gun that was seized, and the so-called manifesto or diary. From what you've seen so far, does it look like the defense may have any of this stuff?
Yeah, there are definitely some issues here. The police officer from Altoona, Pennsylvania, the first hurdle was, this all happened in Pennsylvania, right? So what law applies? Pennsylvania law or New York law? So we got over that hurdle and said, no, New York law applies because that's the case that's going to have the jurisdiction. So under New York law, once a defendant or citizen is not free to leave, so they're testifying that there were like 20 cops there, so he couldn't have been like, bye-bye. They're probably supposed to get a warrant before they look in his backpack. They're allowed to take the backpack out of his arm's reach, but before they open it, they're supposed to call a judge and say, this is what's going on, and are we allowed to? That's not what happened here. So that'll be one issue. They also spoke to him for 17 minutes before they read him his Miranda rights. So that'll be another issue. And the one thing that Luigi's got going for him is the judge who he's before, Judge Caro, has been around a long time. His father was a judge. He's very well known. He's very serious. But he's not afraid to make tough calls. And obviously, anything he does to help Luigi, for most of the population, will be a tough call. But for the cheerleaders Luigi has in front of the courthouse, they'll be cheering him on, which I don't understand that.
Is he still getting lots of people who are coming in to support him? Young
His
people,
website is tremendous. Yes, there are people wearing, I think it's green shirts that say Free Luigi. And there are young women there who are in love with Luigi. It's very odd because
does he acknowledge them? Does he acknowledge them in the courtroom?
No, he can't. Like, he just comes in through a side door. He goes in. I think he looks at certain people in the audience. They're all the way in the back.
There was, when he came in through the hallway, there's kind of sometimes was eye contact.
Yeah, but now that he's in custody, he's coming in. He's not going. They're not walking him through the whole hallway. Yeah. But this is going to. I mean, I thought this was going to be a 3-day hearing. Normally, it would be a 3-day hearing. We're going in the second week now.
Right. So, do you think we could wrap it up this week?
Yeah, I think we would. And the real issue is the judge going to ask for oral argument from both sides? Is he going to ask for written submissions from both sides? And then is the judge just going to give an oral answer? Or is he going to put something in writing? Usually, guys, it's oral argument and then an oral decision from the judge. But when you have the media waiting out there for 2 days before they come into the room, things may be a little bit more formal. I can see written submissions by both sides, followed by oral argument, followed by a judge's written decision. And this is all about what the jury hears at the time of the trial. And we'll have to redo this again in federal court whenever it's time to, because this judge's decision is only binding on the state court case, not the federal court.
Even if they were to take out the Miranda rights issue, for example, or something like that, is there still enough circumstantial So we're talking about some of the circumstantial evidence potentially that could still be there, the videos, some of the things along those lines. So that certainly is one of the issues that they are discussing in court today. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, I think we're going to check in Lower Manhattan, Mike. If we go to that sort of wide shot from behind, what we're going to be looking at here is, well, we're looking outside. It's a cold day, but well, it's okay. When we come back, we'll be heading down to Lower Manhattan where we do have some local elected leaders who really have some strong words for the federal government when it comes to immigration. We'll be right back. All right, we are back live here on Newsroom Live. I'm Dan Bowens. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. You can see up on Live View 5 right there. That is a news conference that's happening down in Lower Manhattan. 3 New York members of Congress, Representatives Goldman, Espaillat, and Velasquez, are speaking, and they are outside of the immigration court proceedings down there at 26 Federal Plaza. That visit comes after repeated attempts by lawmakers to gain access to ICE operations at that same location. They were denied, triggered concerns about transparency and oversight. They're going to be introducing some legislation in just a few minutes. So Representative Velasquez was speaking, and now Representative Espaillat is speaking. Let's go ahead and take a listen and hear what he's talking about this morning.
Ha forzado a los inmigrantes que no acudan aquí al 26 de Federal Plaza, exponiéndolo a que sean deportados, porque ellos querían venir a su cita. Pero como hay agentes de ICE enmascarados aquí esperándolo fuera de la corte, ellos decidieron que no pueden arriesgarse. De manera que la próxima vez que vengan aquí, están sujetos a ser deportados. El 80% de los casos no están acudiendo aquí de personas que querían resolver su estatus. Eso es lo que es la dictadura de Donald Trump, que lanza el ejército, la Guardia Nacional a la calle, que coge a un senador, al senador Padilla, y lo tira en el piso, a una mujer aquí en este edificio con su niña pequeña. La estrellaron en el piso, que lanzan bombas lacrimógenas, químicales y otros asuntos dañinos para la población en general a cruzar de los Estados Unidos, que están alrededor de las escuelas, alrededor de las iglesias. Eso es lo que es.
All right, so again, we were taking a live listen out there, and it sounds like Representative Espaillat speaking in Spanish, addressing some of the media that is out there. They've gathered. They are going to be introducing some legislation when it comes to ICE enforcement, some of the things that they would like to see change in the city. Of course, it looks like Representative Dan Goldman is speaking now. Maybe we can check back in real quick and hear what he is talking about. Let's go ahead and take a listen to Dan Goldman again, representative who is addressing the media in Lower Manhattan when it comes to some of the ICE and immigration policies. Let's take a listen, Mike.
Church, Peter Melk from New Sanctuary Coalition have been here day after day after day trying to bring some law and order to this process. All right. It's a little cold, so we'll open up for questions.
What took so long? I mean, it's been on 6 months. Why now?
For the bill?
Yeah.
Well, we've been doing any number of different things. Congressman Espaillat, Congresswoman Velasquez, and I are part of a lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security. We have introduced a couple of bills that would prohibit ICE officers from wearing masks and not showing their identification. And there's been a lot of public pressure on ICE to stop doing this, and they continue to do it. So I think the real question is not why did it take so long for us to have to pass a law saying that you should not arrest people who are here lawfully and pursuing legal pathways. The real question is why ICE has been doing this for 6 months.
Data obtained by UC Berkeley that was just published showed that about a third of people who've been arrested by ICE, some 75,000 people, have no criminal record. The other 2/3 that did not distinguish between if those were misdemeanors or serious crimes like rape and murder. Your thoughts on a third of the arrests being people with no criminal record, and do you even trust the data coming from the administration?
Well, there's other data that shows 70% have no criminal history, and that only 5% of those who are being arrested have a serious felony in their criminal history. Donald Trump promised to go after the worst of the worst when he was campaigning. He is not going after the worst of the worst. Instead, Stephen Miller and President Trump have ratcheted up quotas to remove as many immigrants as possible, regardless of their status here. That is unlawful. And in doing this immigration dragnet, they are sweeping up U.S. citizens. They are arresting U.S. citizens and often refusing to believe them when they say they are U.S. citizens. They're using excessive force against American citizens. Because in this administration, if you look like you might be an immigrant, or you speak a different language, that is enough for them to arrest you. The border czar, Tom Homan, said this weekend that there's reasonable suspicion. That is a legal term for a search of somebody who may be committing a crime.
All right, so we're taking a look and a listen there to Representative Dan Goldman, Representative Espaillat, and Velasquez, who are down there in Lower Manhattan introducing new legislation. Of course, we'll likely hear from the White House about a couple different things when it comes to ICE and immigration in the city. The mayor-elect put out a video over the weekend essentially telling immigrants what their rights are, what they should and should not do if they're approached by ICE agents. And then here we have these representatives outside of 26 Federal Plaza, which has become kind of a flashpoint in the immigration debate because often that's where those ICE officers are, and they're trying to and have taken plenty of people into custody. All right, well, let's take a look outside as we wrap up our Newsroom Live this morning at 10 o'clock. We got a whole lot left throughout the day. I'm Dan Bowens. We appreciate you joining us. It's a cold one out there, and it looks like it's going to get colder as the night goes on. Have a good one.